Arsenій Yacenyuk. He is a Ukrainian politician and former prime minister, and he joins us now live. Thank you so much, sir, for giving us your time today. Now, we're hearing Sergei Lavrov say that Ukraine is planning a massive attack on the Donetsk and Luhansk republics, and we're constantly hearing from the Russians about the mistreatment of the people in that region, particularly them not being able to speak their native language and other abuses being imposed on that population there. What do you make of these statements that Russia is constantly pushing to the forefront of being one of the reasons why they're conducting this so-called military operation in the region?
Well, the Russian foreign minister is no longer the Minister of Foreign Affairs. He is the Minister of Aggressive Affairs. And he is a pathological liar, the same as his boss, which is a Nazi-style ruler. Everything they were telling, are telling, and will be telling is deception and lie. Ukraine was never intended to attack neither Donetsk and Lugansk. They actually manipulated and disinformed their own people, because the free world understands clearly that this is the deception and the lie. The truth is that Putin and his cronies decided to invade an independent country without any kind of justification. So they tried to facilitate a number of pretexts why Russia decided to invade Ukraine. But the thing is that Putin, Lavrov, and the rest of the Russian regime are war criminals, and they are committing crimes against humanity. Look what is happening in Ukraine. But look what is happening in Europe. They are killing innocent Ukrainians. They are shelling urban areas. They started to prepare even a false flag operation to use chemical weapon against Ukraine. So this is the disaster, and everything what Russian regime is doing is war against humanity and military crimes.
I know it's a very emotional time in your life at this moment, and I'm very sorry that you have to go through what you're going through today. But, you know, prayers to the people of Ukraine, the civilians that are suffering from the conflict and the attacks that they're facing every single day across their country. Now, I want to talk a bit about the role that the West is playing at the moment. Why, despite the history of Russia and its strong relations with the West, hasn't Ukraine been accepted into NATO? Do you think that the alliance is somewhat worried that they'll have to abide by Article 5 in a scenario that we're witnessing today in Ukraine?
Well, Putin made a number of miscalculations. The first and most utmost miscalculation that Putin have undertaken is that he underestimated Ukrainian resilience and Ukrainian resolve. He underestimated Ukrainian people and Ukrainian military. So he expected to conquer and to grab Ukraine just in 3 or 5 days. Ukraine is resistant for more than 21 days, and we will prevail and we will win this war, because this is righteous war. We are fighting for our freedom, for our liberty, and for our country. In terms of the Western response, another miscalculation of Putin was that West is not viable, that West cannot manage to unite, that the West will have the daylight between the US and the EU, and even the daylight within NATO, and even the daylight, for example, between Turkey and Western countries. It didn't happen. Massive, severe sanctions that have been imposed against the Russian Federation is the very strong sign of unity of the Western society against the Russian aggression. We need to realize that Putin is the threat to Ukraine, to the West, to NATO, and to Turkey, to everyone. They want to build up a kind of axis of evil, a kind of evil empire of autocrats and actually killers. And Putin wants to run this inhuman machine with another autocrat. In terms of NATO, Turkey is a NATO member, and NATO is very clear that NATO supports Ukraine. And NATO is very clear. If Putin tries to invade any of NATO member states, the Article 5 will be endorsed. But what am I concerned more about? I am more concerned right now about Ukraine. So my plea and my appeal to our Western partners and Western friends, you are doing a lot, but you can and you have to do more. And this is the chance for me to address even Turkish people and your president, if I can.
Right. We are hearing the same remarks actually from President Zelensky as well. Now, Russia has been asking for security guarantees from the West for some time now, but Ukraine also needs its own security guarantees as well. And Russia keeps saying that Ukraine has to be a neutral state. But when we look back in history, in 2014, for example, Ukraine was a neutral state, but that didn't stop Russia from annexing Crimea at the time.
Absolutely. That's the fact I wanted to unfold. I wanted to tell to your viewers that in 2014 there was a special legislation, the special bill that actually proclaimed a so-called neutral status of Ukraine. And so what's in the end? In the end, Russia invaded Ukraine. In the end, Russia illegally annexed Crimea. In the end, Russia sent its proxy and military and troops to Donetsk and Lugansk, to the eastern of Ukraine. So it doesn't work. This is another Putin's lie. Okay, who can believe Putin that Ukraine posed any threat to Russia? Ukraine could pose the threat to the nuclear armed state, which is the Russian Federation. It's a crap. It's a nonsense. So his idea is to restore Soviet empire. His idea is to commit another land grab. And we have together to withstand this. Today there was a telephone chat between this Nazi-style ruler who is Putin and your president Reджеп Tайїп Erdogan. And I believe that your president can play playing very important role as an interlocutor and as intermediator and to mediate. So we are very grateful to the Turkish people and to your government. I do understand that it's not yet on the agenda of your government to impose sanctions on the Russian Federation.
Right.
But my appeal to your government is that, look, we do appreciate everything you are doing for Ukraine, but please put this option on your table.
Okay.
Defend Ukraine together with the Ukrainians.
Okay, I want to end by asking you what you're worried about the most. Now, looking at the course of this conflict, what is it that worries you the most? Is it the amount of people that's been displaced from your country, the ruins that you're witnessing, the attacks that you're seeing, the uncertain future? What makes you worried?
I am worried about my country. I am worried about my fellow citizens, about children who are under attack, about those who died and killed, about their families, about the future of every single Ukrainian. But on the other hand, I believe that Ukraine will withstand. I believe that Ukraine will win. I believe that we will preserve our country and our lives.
My prayers are with you and your people. Arsenій Яценюk, Ukrainian politician and former Prime Minister of Ukraine, thank you so much